So, America has attacked Iran. You grow up hearing about these tyrannical states. As a child, as a young adult, you grow up hearing about this country that has locked itself in, right? Locked its citizens in, built a use their geography to create a wall, right? A physical wall between them and the outside world. Blocked their citizens from the internet, and used all their GDP to pursue nuclear armament. You hear of another nearby state that has a digital firewall, right? That has also pursued nuclear armament. You hear of yet another state that is pursuing nuclear armament, right? And it's under a tyrannical rule where occasionally they come out and burn American flags and say death to the great Satan. And you just grow up, and because you are fed on Western media, you are always like, oh my God, these people must live in such a and they're living on that tyranny. But you never asked yourself, what scared those people that they will use all their GDP for the very expensive endeavor of building a nuclear arsenal? It's like you're running through the woods and you come upon a house, and then you find a cottage, and you see a family inside, and they've barricaded themselves. You never ask yourself, what are they barricading themselves against? It never crosses your mind that they're not trying to keep themselves in, that they are trying to keep something out. This is the story of North Korea, of China, and of Iran. Those walls, the digital walls, the physical walls, the that are guarded by a nuclear arsenal, they are not meant to tyrannize their local population. They are meant to keep something out. You are on the wrong side of that wall. Do you understand? You are locked in on the outside of the wall with the thing that they are scared of. You are locked in here with the monster. You are on the wrong side of that wall. Satan is loose amongst you. You are locked in here on the wrong side of the wall with Satan. And this is how you must think about American imperialism and largely Western imperialism. If you're not thinking about them as like the greatest evil, as like Sauron, as like Satan, and I'm not being hyperbolic in like I'm trying to play on like conspiracy theories of like the Vatican or like Satan worship or devil, right? I'm saying that if you do not consider American imperialism as Satan, you will greatly underestimate the danger, and it will cost you your life. You cannot look at history as an isolated event. You were not born post-imperialism. You were born into war. You were born inside an existential struggle. You were born inside imperialism. You were born halfway in this story of humanity. You were not born post. After we started singing Kumbaya and started trying to progress humanity. No, you were born inside of it, inside of the struggle. These are the same people. You think the Roman Empire fell and all the people died? No, it's the same people. It's disintegrated. It's the same people who killed 55 million, more than 50 million indigenous Americans and took their land. It's the same people who killed we don't know how many in Australia. It's the same people who killed how many people in Africa during colonization in Congo, and trafficked how many to the new world, that has been genociding black people since inception, since first contact with them. It's the same people. It's the same blood running in all of their veins. This is the same people who killed 100 million people in India. America has given weapons to Asians, weapons to Latin Americans, to giving guns to Africans, to Boko Haram, to Al-Shabaab, to kill fellow Africans. has done the same in Latin America, has done the same in Asia, has done the same in the Middle East. America has tested nuclear weapons on has moved people from an island and moved them to a nearby island that was still not safe, tested the nuclear weapon, brought them back to the island that they tested the nuclear weapons on, knowing it wasn't safe, so they could observe them. America has planted drugs in its own communities. America has carried out experiments on its own population. If you have to start going down the list of how many people, 1 million people in Iraq, destroyed Libya. Sanctions that are supposed to be peaceful have killed almost 38 million people since 1970. It has killed 30. The blood that American and Western imperialism has spilled has saturated the earth and has risen up out of the ground to reach the bridle of horses. If you underestimate the threat of American imperialism and Western imperialism, it will cost you your life. It will cost you your civilization, and it will cost you your race. Do you understand? I started making these videos because I knew that this day will come, and I recognized like the rest of the world consumes American and Western media. This is why even before we had internet, we had satellite dishes. They made sure that we were getting American and Western entertainment into our homes. So our satellite dishes were even clearer than our local channels when we were growing up. You understand? So I knew that this day will come, and I know that people are so indoctrinated that they think that America is their friend. I went on Twitter. The same reason why I'm not very active on Twitter. The same reason why I don't do lives is why I'm not active on Twitter, because people are not really there to learn. I tried going on live, going on live TikTok lives during that whole South African saga, and it's just like we're showing up every day to discuss the same things. Like you guys not going to understand this threat, or you're just using it to farm engagement. These things are just meant to like farm. There are people who are paid to farm engagement, who are paid to not understand reality and to mislead people. So I don't do it because it's draining your energy that you should be using to think. So, but I knew that this day will come. This is why I continued. I just continue making videos, because I know that most people cannot see past the propaganda. If you underestimate threat of America, it will cost you your life. My mom asked me, why does this bother me so much? I said, I'm from the southeastern region of Nigeria. There's gas in the southeastern part of Nigeria, a lot of gas. I said, one day, mommy, you are going to find American troops in Nigeria in the near future, and you will not know why. There are currently American troops in Nigeria. If you underestimate American imperialism, it will cost you your life. If you send me a picture of someone living in abject misery in your country, and tell me what country it is, I will trace that person's suffering to American and largely Western imperialism. Anywhere in the world, America is responsible, not just solely America, but what it represents, right? It's responsible for the immiseration, right? For the abjection, for the retardation of the human species. If you want to know why men in Gambia and Jamaica and the West Indies sell themselves to Western female tourists for sustenance, it's America. If you want to know why Southeast Asia has become sort of like a brothel for Western tourists, it's America. If you want to know why there are children in the mines of Congo, it's America. If you want to know why people are dying trying to cross the Sahara, why they're being enslaved in Libya, trying to cross through, why they are dying in the channels of the Pacific Ocean, this is the Atlantic Ocean, trying to cross into Europe, it's because of American and European imperialism. And American imperialism and capitalism and this institution of a fiat currency and this tokenization of natural resources. into fiat currency that they've now made scarce and tied to labor. It's what the reason why we debase ourselves. It's the reason why people sell their bodies to other people so that they can earn fiat currency to get a place to live. It's the reason why mothers sell their children. It's the reason why brothers kill their brothers. We've just taken this as a natural course of life, as a natural interaction between humans, and it is not. It's not a normal system to live in. And we've only had this system for a few hundred years, probably not even up to 1,000 years. You can trace the root of all suffering in 2 or 3 generations to American and Western imperialism. But you were born into this dystopia and you have normalized it. You think it's normal. You can't see the bars because it's your normal. We are living in total abjection, immiseration, and retardation of the species because of American and Western imperialism. And this is not me being hyperbolic. If your wife or your girlfriend or your husband leaves you because you work too hard and you don't have time for them, or like you don't make enough money, they leave you for someone richer, it's America. If you're living in the global south and you take your Russia child or you rush a child to the hospital and they don't have enough oxygen, it probably has to do with America. If you have a terrible dictator in your country, it's probably because America is enabling it, because he's helping them loot your country, or it's because he's trying to stop America. He's trying to defend you against American imperialism. If the economic conditions are terrible in your country, it's because America has forced you to take loans, to put austerity in your country, to cut social services, to take loans at rates that all your taxes you're being taxed now to pay back those loans. Or it's because they forced you to privatize all your industries and to cut your social services so that American companies can come in and establish those companies and suck out all your resources from your country. If you are suffering today, if your experience of consciousness is one of suffering, it's probably because of American and Western imperialism. This is how primal you must be thinking about the world. I'm not a history teacher. I don't like to teach history, but I mention these things. There are people on TikTok or on YouTube where you can read histories of any of these atrocities that I name, right? But I don't want to go into like the details. But when I mention things, it's for you to go and research. When I say Japanese fascists came into America stole Japanese fascist history, or that America integrated Nazis into their agencies, it's for you to go and look for it. I want to teach you how to think about the world so that you understand why your life is miserable, so that you can get to the root cause of your suffering, so that you do not cheer on your captors. If you are from the global south and you found yourself in the west and you didn't come for tourism, it's because of American and Western imperialism. Because they made your country so inhospitable, because they needed to take all your resources, and then they made sure your passport was useless, and so they made it so that as their population had collapsed, they put a system where they can extract the best and the brightest who have the means to come out of those countries. So they've not only stolen your resources, they are the architects of you coming to contribute to their economy. If that does not insult your sovereignty, your personal sovereignty, if you don't feel disgusted by that knowledge that you are here in the West not by design, not by your own design or by your own wish, but that it was predetermined. These are not incidental systems in the evolution of humanity. No, these are systems that were put in place to exploit and enslave you. And you should be disgusted that you have to play in this system. If you're not thinking about America as the great evil, America, what it represents, and Western imperialism as the great evil that has immiserated all of humanity, then you will greatly underestimate the threat, and it will cost you your life. Do you understand? America is the reason why you spend the most productive hours of days of your life. You're one shot at consciousness. You spend it from when you are from when you're a child to when you are 65. You spend it in a dark room, in a cubicle, in your home office. You spend the most productive times of your one shot at consciousness in a dark room, in a room, pressing a keyboard and learning nonsense and chasing money that they literally make up, chasing fiat currency that they literally make up. They literally create it from thin air. They're not taking from Paul to give to you. No, when you take a loan, they create it. That's what you spend 35 years of your life trying to repay back. Something that somebody created on a computer. It's America. And it's not just that, like saying like, oh, you can trace all of, like if you're taking a religious angle, like, oh, you can trace all human suffering to Adam and Eve, like some mythical thing. No, you can trace it back two or three generations to American and Western establishment of capitalism. You can trace all human retardation to American and European imperialism. For a long time, because the oil companies were making money, they told us we cannot get battery densities for electric cars that could go more than 50 kilometers, that could store enough energy that could go more than 50 kilometers. It took China less than 3 years to get it to 200 kilometers. Now they're pushing 400 kilometers and 600 kilometers. Now they've even made a sodium battery, salt, out of salt, which is going to probably make desalination of ocean water now more cost effective, because now there's a reason to do it. Imperialism, capitalism is responsible for the immiseration of all humanity and the retardation of our species. And if you underestimate it, it will cost you your life. All of the world is war and conquest. You know, people like, I like to tell you, if you don't think about the world on a primal level, you will not understand it. If you do not see us as a group of apes on a rock that has disintegrated and separated us into distinct categories, and who are now fighting for resources. Some finding that they've been shortchanged and now requiring domination over everybody else. You will not understand what is going on. America is the reason for your suffering on this planet. You're one shot at consciousness. This is how you are spending it. Monday to Friday, going to look for a made up fiat currency so you can live on a planet that is bountiful. This is Western imperialism. People take for granted. If you don't think about things on a primal level, you will not understand that you are looking for a biblical Armageddon beast system. You are in the beast system already. There's no, you don't need any further beast system. People take for granted the homogeneity of systems, but they never ask themselves why. Why do we need a homogeneity of systems? Because they cannot exploit you. They cannot insert themselves in your transactions if you're not running parallel homogeneous systems. They teach you English so that first of all they can erase concepts that were in your own native language away from memory. If you cannot, if there's no word for resistance or for something that is altruistic, then you can't think about it. This is the stencil they put between you and reality. If you are running a 4-day week, you're a farming community. Your whole existence is built around farming. Even as you have learning centers where your children go and learn real secrets of the universe, right? You use calories. To transact when you need to buy food, something that you cannot grow, right? You don't have a president. You have like a council of elders. You have a philosopher. You have a healer. You have a doctor. You have a farmer. You have 7 people who rule your community, and you have no need for need for money, for dollars, right? Let's take this scenario. And so they cannot interface with such a community. They don't know who to talk to, who to kill. If there are seven communities of 7 elders this country. They cannot pull levers of inflation. They cannot devalue your currency. They cannot eavesdrop on you if you're not speaking their language. They cannot get a swift transfer on Monday if that's your day off. If you don't work on AK or Orie. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you are not running the same systems, how will they bribe you if you have no need for money? If you're not running the same systems, how will Uber get their cuts by coming into your country? How will Visa and MasterCard get their cuts from every transaction that happens in your country? You are all working, whether you're in the global south or not, you are all working for a white man in California. Because every transaction you make, somebody gets a cut. These are not normal systems. They've made you think that this is normal, that this is just trade and investment. No, they are siphoning wealth from your country to the north. This is why they require a homogeneity of systems. This is why they are spreading democracy and capitalism and their management systems, so that it laps, so that they can pull the levers, because they know how to pull the levers of the systems that they've created for your exploitation. You cannot take the homogeneity of systems for granted. It has been imposed on you. This is the stencil through which you are living your reality. That is an artificially imposed stencil that does not have to be. That was imposed on you so that they can exploit you. If you take Western imperialism for granted, it will cost you your life. So this is the danger that these countries, China, North Korea, and Iran, and Russia, locked themselves away from. They locked themselves away from this danger, and were able to defend their sovereignty because of their nuclear arsenal. And you are asking, and you are thinking, and you are here thinking that the people who have enslaved you are the good guys, and people who are protecting themselves away from Satan, that they are the bad guys. You will cheer on your enslavers. If you are living in the global south, Europeans are not your friends. If you are a European, Europeans their leaders are not your friends, because you are just as enslaved as all of us in this system. That does not have to be. Do you understand what I'm saying? You might not like their politics or whatever you've been told about their politics, but these 4 countries are the last countries who are standing between us and a total enslavement of them picking us off any time that they want. These 4 countries, whether you like them or not. So if you're looking for who to cheer on, I want you to understand, to tell me who China and who North Korea and who Iran has ever destroyed. What's the aggression? Where's the aggression that they had against your country? If you underestimate Western imperialism, it will cost you your life. And if you are in the West and you are cheering on your country to destroy these people, when they finish destroying them, they will come home and hand you over to Peter Thiel and Palantir, and they will further enslave you. You are cheering on your captors against the people who are fighting against this tyranny. Like, you cannot even make this shit up. The head of Palantir in the UK is Mosley, a fascist. Peter Thiel, a fascist. Elon Musk, his grandfather was a fascist. You can't make this shit. When I tell you that the Nazis won World War II, and the Nazis have been running America since, and the West since, I'm not being hyperbolic. This is what's going on. The world is suffering from a global fascism. This is how you must think about the world. And until you can see the world clearly like this, you will continue cheering on for your captors. I don't know what else to say. It has begun.